And here we go. From tornadoes to hurricanes, blizzards, and everything in between, you're listening to the Stormfront Freaks podcast. The Stormfront Freaks are former television meteorologist Mark Massaro, collegiate senior in atmospheric science Brady Harris, digital meteorologist and weather producer for The Lift on the Weather Channel app, Dina Knightley, social media specialist and meteorologist at the Weather Channel, Jen Watson, freelance on-camera meteorologist, speaker, and former meteorologist on the Weather Channel, Kim Cunningham, and I'm your announcer and Skywar Network radio operator, Mark Johnson. Now, here's the moderator of the Stormfront Freaks podcast, amateur storm spotter, Phil Johnson.
All right, welcome to the most entertaining weather podcast on your listening and viewing device. This is the Stormfront Freaks podcast and Stormfront Freaks Raw, and we want a special thank you not only for listening and viewing, but a special thank you for those of you watching during our first live broadcast on Oklahoma Weather Tracker TV. It's good having you guys all on. And you know, I always tell people when you start doing live shows, it could be very dangerous. And especially with this group, I think, can be very... No,
Phil, not at all.
Never.
So we throw that disclaimer out there for all you now, watching us live. Just, be careful because you never know what you're going to get.
Oklahoma, wait.
So this is episode 21, and our guest is social scientist and severe weather preparedness expert, Dr. Laura Myers, is with us tonight. We look forward to some great discussion with her. And I'll tell you, with all this hubbub, you guys have been hearing, it's more political, but all the hubbub of fake news and alternative facts. We're actually going to be discussing social media that fuels that fire during severe storms and for winter storm forecast. There's a lot of fake news and alternative facts when it comes to weather as well. And of course, our favorite weather fools and weather resources will close us out. So we definitely hope you'll stick with us for the next hour or so. But we want you to know, we like to have fun on this show, but our show is always better during happy hour. Okay, so we always broadcast. Everyone, cheers to that. We always broadcast during happy hour. So those of you at home, feel free to sit up at the bar with us. But let's introduce everybody and find out what everybody's drinking. We're going to start with MJ up in Minnesota. What do you got, brother?
Well, tonight I'm joining you from the office at my school, so that tells you a little bit about what I might be drinking.
Nice.
I have a fabulous bottle of Diet Dew. There you go.
That's exciting. Okay, we just lost a bunch of viewers right now going, what?
All right, so nice way to start it off.
I'm back to what I was drinking last episode, which is actually Braxton Brewing Company in Newport, Ohio, has a golden cream ale that they call Storm. It's very good, but I still had some left for my six-pack, so that's what I have. Jen, we're going to turn it to you now. Jen, you have made some announcements recently, but it explains why your drink is never real exciting either. But tell us your news, and what are you drinking?
Well, I've got a little Stormfront Freak brewing in my belly right now. I am just over. I know.
Nice. Burrito.
Wow. That's a true fact, and I'm wearing a Stormfront Freak shirt.
Yeah. Wow.
I know. It's exciting.
Plug, you can find those at stormfrontfreaks.com.
Yeah. But no, I'm drinking a nice, refreshing Dasani sparkling water.
All right. So you're getting to be predictable.
Yeah.
Who are you, Phil? You're drinking the same thing as last week?
Just twice. That's it. Not every show. It's not every show.
Okay. He's trying to get a free case.
Jen is down in Atlanta, and obviously a part of the Weather Channel. And then we got Brady. Brady Harris is up in Columbus at Ohio State University. Brady, what are you drinking tonight?
Well, you know what? I've got a Fat Cat Confession IPA. There is a brewing company called Fat Cat. That is a real thing. You can look it up on the internet. And it suits me great because I love IPAs. And I've got a cat that's fat as well. Yeah, I love cats. So it's Perfect.
And of course, you could be drinking anything tonight because your video camera's not working and we can't see you.
I could be drinking
So-
motor fluid, so no one knows.
That would be more exciting, I think.
True.
No, that would be brutal.
All right, we got Dina Knightley down in Atlanta, part of the weatherchannel.com. Dina, what do you have tonight?
I've got something good. I'm drinking my old smoky moonshine. Can you see that?
Oh.
And it's got all kinds of fruit juices, and you can see, if you can see the video, I've got strawberries in it. And since I was
Yum.
finishing off the whole bottle, I just put it in the jar.
Wow.
And I'm
Ooh.
That's
just,
perfect.
You ain't messing around.
No.
I don't mess around. You're going to do it right.
So Dina's going to have a good show tonight. We can
How I roll.
Yes.
He is going to
All
be very
All right,
reliable.
then we got Mark Massaro from Cincinnati, former TV meteorologist. Maz, we call him Maz. What are you drinking tonight, Maz?
Well, first of all, Dina, eat the fruit because there's no alcohol in the fruit. I just want you to know that.
When it's soaked in alcohol, it is.
Oh, it is? No. All right. Hey, actually, I was looking for something kind of sweet tonight, so I actually found an Angry Orchard from like the fall. It was way back in the fridge. And it went well because I actually had peach cobbler before, which kind of cuts
That
down on the
sounds
sugar
delicious.
content. This actually is a little sour after the peach cobbler.
There you go.
I'm saying.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Tasty. That's a good mix. All right.
Maz, that was my first drink, Maz. Angry Orchard. It's good stuff.
Wow.
What,
Good
16?
stuff.
Yeah, that's
Yeah.
16. All right.
No. I'm not gonna have it.
Family show. No, not necessarily. And then last but not least, this won't be your formal introduction, Laura, but Laura's with us down in Alabama and our guest tonight, but we want to include you in our happy hour. What are you drinking with us?
I'm drinking Diet Pepsi at the University of Alabama in my Clemson Tiger mug.
Yes.
Sacrilegious.
Fabulous.
Sacrilegious. You can't do that. Yep. Your house has got to be TP'd like every other night.
Can you imagine?
All right. Well, let's. You had a chance to meet everybody and all the freaks in our group. Let's get to what we were here to talk about and talk with tonight. Dina, I'll turn it over to you to introduce our esteemed guest.
All right, tonight we welcome our special guest, social scientist Dr. Laura Myers. She holds a PhD in criminology from the Florida State University and is the director and senior research scientist for the Center for Advanced Public Safety at the University of Alabama in Tuscaloosa. Her research areas include disaster and emergency management, severe weather warning improvement, and risk communication. Now, Dr. Myers, you have an impressive resume. And you've conducted multiple studies about the behavior of the public. You've worked with the National Weather Service regarding the warning process, especially after like big storms like the Moore and El Reno, Oklahoma tornadoes back in 2013. But my question is, how did you get from criminology to research in disaster management? Because those two things don't seem to have an obvious tie between the two.
No, it's definitely not obvious. I had studied and researched criminal justice and criminology for about 25 years, and then 9/11 happened, and there was a lot of concern about emergency management and emergency preparedness, and there were not a lot of researchers and professors of emergency management. And so I was asked to start studying emergency management and doing research in emergency management, which led to the weather and weather preparedness. And so that's the connection.
Wow. Okay, great.
That's awesome.
So I'm going to start off with just a couple questions. Sorry, Jen. I actually had one of the friends of the show, Jay Farlow, actually emailed me a couple questions because he wasn't going to be able to watch the show live. But they were very good questions, which I thought were important anyway. Number one, he wanted to ask a little bit when it comes to false alarms. So tornado warning issued and no tornado kind of situation. I guess how does the public, Laura, react? How does that affect their reaction to future warnings, number one? And then number two, when it comes to the National Weather Service, if you know, what's their scorecard look like as far as how often are they doing a warning that an actual tornado happened? And what do you think that scorecard should look like?
Okay. Well, to the first part of the question, the issue of how people perceive false alarms. It's really interesting because I think the weather enterprise, the broadcast meteorologists and the National Weather Service really worry about whether people are desensitized by what they think are false alarms. And it's actually the case that only about 1/3 of people complain about false alarms. The other 2/3 are glad to have the warning, and if it doesn't hit, they're happy that it didn't hit. And so it's really a much smaller percentage of people who complain about those false alarms, and they're the ones that are less likely to respond appropriately the next time. And so the question is, how do we reach those folks? How do we deal with that desensitization? And that goes to your next question about the track record for the National Weather Service. And the Weather Service has worked very hard after some recent severe events to try to improve the false alarm ratio. After the 2011 tornadoes here in Alabama and Mississippi, that was part of the effort, was to try to reduce the false alarm rate, use the technology better, figure out better ways to reduce that number. And of course, that gets to the use of polygons and trying to reduce the area of the warning, going from county-based warnings to polygon-based warnings. So there's been a lot of effort in that area, as well as impact-based warnings. And so the false alarm ratio has improved significantly. In Birmingham, for example, about 30% improvement in the false alarm ratio, which is just outstanding. And so I've worked with several Weather Service offices who have done the same thing over time. And it's really all about the technology and the use of polygons and impact-based messaging.
I also heard that Birmingham's Weather Service got toilet papered several times. So I think, does that lead to improved false alarms? No?
Well, yeah, it can.
Okay, all right.
Dr. Myers, you've done a lot of research on the behavior of people and what triggers or causes them to take action or do something or seek shelter. You did a lot of research on after April 27th and 2011 and also the 2013 tornadoes in Oklahoma. Can you elaborate a little bit more on some of the research you've done and findings, like what will make someone actually take shelter when you're an on-camera meteorologist, or even socially, if you're putting it out on Twitter or something?
Well, the biggest issue is the psychological process that people go through. They really don't want to change their behavior unless they think that the tornado is really close to them and is going to impact them. And so that's what we learned from those two events, is if we can meet that psychological need, people are more likely to take action. So for example, they want secondary confirmation. The first warning's not enough. They're like, well, is it really close to me? Is it in my county? Is it near my neighborhood? Is it near my home? So if we can show them, like on television with videos, that here's the actual tornado, here's the damage it's already done, and this is where it's at, and this is where it's going, that makes a big difference. If we can give them that location information and timing information, then they're more likely to act. If we can tell them the impacts of the type of tornado and the type of winds that are coming, and tell them the kind of damage it will do, they're more likely to take action. So we've learned that from not just those two events, but all the events that we've evaluated.
Yeah, Laura, so I have a question about tornado sirens. So there's been kind of a pretty recent debate about, are they effective? Are they not effective? Have you done any research on, is a tornado siren effective, or is getting a warning from your phone more effective than that? I'm not,
Yeah, we've done several evaluations over multiple events, and recently we've actually done a study of all of the warning modalities, including the cell phones and the sirens and NOAA weather radio, to look at what people use and what functions best in different events. And all of them are important. They all serve certain functionalities, and they all produce information in different ways and with different timing. And so to your question about sirens are important because they're one of the warning modalities, but it's important for the public to understand their limitations. And one of the things that we've discovered is that a lot of people think they're going to be able to hear sirens in their homes, and they're not going to be able to.
Nope.
And so
That's true.
Yeah, and there's been a lot of arguments that we should do away with sirens, but they do have a lot of utility. They are for outdoor use, and when they're used outside, people outside hear them, and they serve that purpose. So what we recommend and what the research has illustrated is that you need multiple modalities. You need the cell phone. You can rely on the siren, but you got to have the other ways of doing it. NOAA weather radio is important for overnight warnings. And we've done a lot of studies about which modalities work better at night. And so, it's really about multiple modalities.
So Laura, when we get the folks that are, in that prime time, late afternoon, early evening, they're in their commute, which is a high probability of when tornadic or huge storms take place.
Yep.
What do we see at that point in time? Because a lot of people, they've got their radio turned on. They may not be able to hear the sirens. I think they have a hard time hearing the emergency squads going down the road sometimes. How does that factor into, because they're really the most vulnerable people and they're out in the traffic, and now what?
Yeah, and that's been a big issue. We deal a lot with, what we call transient warnings. When people are out on the roads, they're going about their business, how do we reach them? And one of the efforts that's been worked on recently is digital signage. And so using digital signage to get that information out with people on their commutes, they're heading home, and the digital signage, either tells them to turn to a radio station for information or even gives them the exact warning. And so that's one way. Then the cell phones, of course, have the WIA alerts. There's also alert notifications in a lot of communities that are going to hit their cell phones that are in their cars. And so actually educating the public about the need to have those modalities and recognize those modalities when they're in a transient situation.
What's the challenge, Laura, though, with that? Because a lot of those devices or modalities, as you call them, are broadcasting information from the National Weather Service. But of course, if people are in their cars or at home, they're also turning into their local news and everything else. I guess, have any of your studies looked at how many different resources people are looking at to get their information at the same time? You talked about secondary confirmation earlier. Are they looking at multiple sources? And are some of those sources conflicting, that's creating even a tougher situation for the public to know what to do?
It is, and we have evaluated that. We've looked at the process that people go through, the use of the different tools. And so typically what they do, they get the information from one modality first, whatever it is, and then they turn to other modalities. Like you say, the television, social media, all the different ways they can get that information. And once they start doing that, that's where the confusion can come from. And so it's really important that there's consistency between the information from all of those different sources. And typically there is a lot of consistency, especially if it's a high impact event, if there's good lead time, good information. It's the uncertain events and the ones that are really hard to forecast and describe that lead to some of that inconsistency. And so that's where we see the bigger problems, is with, the uncertainty involved with a weather event. You get all different kinds of perspectives and information. And then there's the issue of graphics, the inconsistency in the graphics, the colors that are used in the graphics, the mapping information. So there's a lot of issues that come up. And, we didn't used to have that problem. We used to only get weather information through one or two ways. And now we've got all these different ways. So it is creating that consistency issue.
Are you aware of any future gathering of all these different National Weather Service and television meteorologists and all these different sources to get together and start saying, hey, let's try and tighten things up a little bit with what we're communicating to the public?
Yeah, there's several efforts going on. There's some between the various agencies involved trying to create more consistency. They've recognized the gaps in inconsistency, and so they're trying to work through those, and there's been a lot of success with that. And then there's a lot of people in the weather enterprise who want to get everybody together to talk about what it would mean to be consistent. How do you take such a monolith of information now and create that consistency? And that's no easy challenge to overcome, but there are efforts, and I'm involved with that.
I wonder, is there an opportunity here for maybe, especially for folks that are out and about somewhere with car manufacturers, that maybe, since everybody has GPS these days, if someone's listening to music or something, maybe emergency management is able to, I don't want to say take over, but be able to broadcast a tone that then diminishes the volume on the radio so they can broadcast something that is specific for where those polygons might be for those folks that are out and about. I mean, Does anybody
Dude, you
ever
just gave
thought-
away $1 million idea.
That's what I'm here for.
It's that
I mean,
patented
should have kept that to yourself.
they have that on some radio stations, but it doesn't. It's not consistent across the board. I think like there are some times when a weather alert will pop up and disrupt whatever program I'm listening to on the radio. But then comes the problem. What if someone's listening to their phone? And what if they've got notifications disabled or something? Because I think there's a big problem of some people just don't necessarily want to get disturbed by that kind of stuff because they've never been impacted by it and they've never lost a family member, to it or something like that. So I think that's a big problem too. Is Laura, have you done any research on how to reach those people? How to reach the people that don't watch the news and that aren't necessarily plugged in as much as they would need to really get these warnings in a convenient way?
Yeah, there's a lot of work being done in educational outreach, trying to reach the populations that are not necessarily technologically savvy, those who have, turned off the tools that would help them, who've turned off those settings, trying to figure out how they can reach them and reach them, in terms of a crisis communication versus a risk communication. Risk communication is we try to reach them several months in advance of a severe weather season to tell them that they're going to need these tools, that they're going to need to acquire this information. And then when we get closer to the event, how do we get their attention? And so there's a lot of different ways. One of the biggest groups that's difficult to reach are young people because they're not watching television. They're not using a lot of these modalities. And so the one way we know we can get to them is through social media. So how do you get information out on social media to young people in a way that, one, gets them quick enough, and then also gets their attention and gets them to act?
Yeah.
Can you shock them through their cell phone? Is that
Because you hope they have a good app with, their geolocation. Because, like, even mine, I don't listen to the radio much. I'll listen to, my music on my iTunes, but my app will pop a notification on, and even when I'm in my car, I'll hear a ding, and you'll see the warning come up. But, you made a good point, Dr. Myers, where you were talking about getting people aware a long time ahead of time for like severe season. But it also brings up the question, and maybe you've done research on this, do people know the difference between a watch and a warning? Or do we need to do better?
Yeah.
That's so depressing. That is so depressing.
Yeah.
Oh, gosh.
But it's true.
It really is. It's amazing, too, and it's not just the general public. I mean, I talk to emergency managers and other people in the weather enterprise, and they're confused, and that's really scary.
Wow.
Yeah, and the issue is we've evaluated all the terminology. We've looked at watches, warnings, advisories, and everybody understands what a warning is. But everything else is confusing because those things don't capture their attention. And we know that's the problem with the watch. And the people that confuse the watch, for some reason, they think watch means it's been seen. The tornado's been seen. And so you're supposed to be watching for it coming. Yeah. And you can see the rationale there. But why do they think that? And that goes back to the education. And so there's a lot of work being done to actually help do the outreach, the education that's needed to help people understand the terminology.
I'm still confused by the humidity alert. What does that even mean?
Humidity. It means you need to grab a towel and a bucket.
There's so many things that you can be alerted for these days. It's like, what?
That's part of the problem.
Alert overload.
Yeah.
There's a lot of things.
And if you look at the National Weather Service page, I don't think I could even name all the watches, warnings, advisories that they issue. I mean, what is there, 30 or 40? I mean, between winter, severe flooding, I mean, you can't keep up with all of them. But I mean, since I've done TV and been in the media, it's good to talk to you because if you could give me or another Met in the field ideas, like we show video, we try to show where it is. You said remain consistent. That's a good one. But how, I'm not a doctor. I don't save lives. I'm not a policeman or a firefighter, but I hope the information I send out might help somebody, like help some other mother out there with a kid to save a life. And how do you do that? Like, what else can we maybe show? We've gone into this conversation before, but if you can give any other advice about how we communicate, is it like our tone, more graphics, more video? I don't know. Do you have any other advice?
Yeah, we've done a lot of work on that. And what's interesting about that is the credibility that the TV meteorologist has with their viewers. And so when you're on there and you're talking about this stuff, they know when it's really serious because of your tone, about what you're saying and how you're acting. And they talk about that. They know the differences when it's really serious based on the way you're delivering that information. And also the way you talk to them, being very direct about what it is they need to do. So the calls to action are very, very critical. When people are in situations like this, they tend to panic. And so the best way we can help people is to say, this is what you need to do. You need to enact your plan now. You need to take shelter now. And it's important that you've given them information beforehand about what that plan should be and where that shelter is, because they don't have time to figure that out. And so it's a two-part process. And so we have found over and over again the value of that. The public tells us that over and over.
I gauge the severity of the storm by the amount of sweat that's coming from the meteorologist on air.
Yeah, that's one of those.
No, Dr. Myers, it's interesting you said that because on April 27th, I was working in Tupelo, Mississippi and covering the severe weather, and we had 3 outbreaks. And I'm usually like a fun, bubbly kind of person in the morning. And I was very serious that day. And people said, like, we've never heard her sound like that before. Mm-hmm. And we knew she was serious at that point and that's why we took shelter, is because of her tone. Right. And how she said it, which was crazy.
And that's just it. And I mean, and that's real. I mean, when you guys were doing that, that was real. You were trying to get them to understand, and you guys were concerned. You had known there was so much lead time on that event. And so for days you had been that way. And that made a big difference. You know, the outlook and the lead time by being serious for several days even makes a difference. And that gets people more prepared. And so they talk about that. They talk about that tone of voice, and, you know, they talk about your personalities in terms of what it is on a regular day versus what it is on a really bad day.
Yeah.
It's really bad. Ow.
No, not like that. Not like that.
That's not good.
You don't want to freak them out and scare them. You just want to be serious.
I'm glad I'm not a TV meteorologist. Yeah, that would not be good. Hey, I've got one more question for you, Laura. Okay. I have got, or I had, I should say, a family member that had a lot of anxiety when it came to when tornado warnings were being issued, thunderstorms were coming in. She got very anxious. I saw something about you doing some kind of work with virtual reality to treat storm anxiety or aware of something. Can you tell us a little bit about that?
Yeah, in conjunction with some of our social work and psychology professors here in Alabama who were concerned about the anxiety that arose after the 2011 tornadoes, we developed some virtual reality technology to help work through that anxiety. And essentially what the virtual reality environment does is it puts the person back in a severe weather scenario. And so they're in a home, the storm's coming, they start to hear the sounds. We have the NOAA weather radio going off. We have James Spann, our local meteorologist, come on.
Oh, that's scary.
Yeah, it is. Yeah.
His overhauls.
There's a lot of
Or overalls. So I said overhauls.
Yeah. But what it does is it brings it all back, and it helps them work through that anxiety and helps them. And we do it in conjunction with social workers and counselors who are working with these folks who are trying to work through the anxiety. And it's designed to help them cope with future events. And we have a tremendous amount of it here in Alabama.
Well, good. Well, hey, one thing before we move on, Laura, how can listeners follow you on social media or find out more about the work you're doing?
Wait, she's not on social media.
Yeah. Yeah, you can find me on Twitter at Dr. Laura Myers. That's probably the best place to find me. Or you can find me at our website at the Center for Advanced Public Safety. A lot of our information is on there. Also, the CAPS Facebook page. A lot of our media interviews about the research and projects are on the Facebook page. So Twitter's probably the best, though.
Good. Okay, well, hey, so it's time for our lightning round. And for all of our new viewers, and Laura, for you, this is kind of our speed round of fun questions that we have for our guest. And so we like to have fun, right? We have some serious talk about weather, but whoever our guest is, we're always going to have fun with them as well. So what we're going to do tonight is, Laura, it seems that you are a friend of animals and you have some pets. Is that correct?
That's right. Buddy the dog, Itsy the cat, and I've recently acquired 2 baby hamsters.
Wow.
Oh,
Nice.
Got a little mini zoo starting down there. Well, so here's what we're going to do. We are playing animal-themed Minute to Win It. So if we have any animal fans listening or watching, feel free to play along with us at home. But here are the rules. So I call it Minute to Win It, but it's not really like the game show Minute to Win It because we're not doing any skills. But what I'm going to do is, Laura, I'll let you pick. There's 3 different topics. I shouldn't call them topics, but you've got 3 different times that you're going to play. You get to pick your opponent each time, so you can pick one of the freaks. So there's Jen, there's Dina, there's Maz, and there's Brady. MJ, okay, MJ, if I keep you out, okay, you're good. So so you can pick from Jen, Dina, Maz, or Brady.
Okay.
And what I'm going to do is I'm going to start with you. You're going to have 10 seconds. I'm going to tell you to name something, like, name the top 10 cars sold in the United States, right? And I'm going to give you 10 seconds. You try and name as many as you can. Then I'll count how many you got right, and then we're going to go to your opponent, and they'll have 10 seconds, but they can't pick any of the ones that you already named.
Gotcha.
Ooh.
Okay?
Oh gosh.
That's rough.
Okay, stop crying. Stop
Dr.
crying.
Myers, don't pick me.
Stop crying.
Pick Jen. Pick Jen. Pick Jen.
So
I need
this
another
is how it's going to work. So the first one we're starting off with, I'll tell you right now, these are animal-themed superheroes. The top 10 animal-themed superheroes by comicvine.com. So animal-themed superheroes. So I'm going to give you 10 seconds, Laura. Start naming off animal-themed comic heroes. Go.
Oh my gosh, Super Dog. Goodness, this is
I have
hard.
no idea either.
I don't either.
Okay. 5 more seconds.
Oh gosh. Oh.
All right. So we're not off to the best of starts. So unfortunately, you got 0 of the top 10 animal-themed superheroes. Who are you picking to go up against?
Remember Dina's been drinking moonshine.
They would come out very soon, I bet. Let's do
So who you
Maz.
picking?
Maz.
All right,
Yes.
You're on the clock. 10 seconds. Animal-themed superheroes. Go.
Scooby-Doo. Underdog. Run, Joe, Run. Wait, that wasn't his name, was it? I'm older than you, okay?
Okay. So somehow I
you
got
picked the only
something
one I
really
could think
wrong
of.
on that. Here's the thing: is Laura, you tied. You tied with the freak. Neither
Wow.
of you got anything.
Nice.
Here are the top 10 guys: Wolverine,
Oh.
Spider-Man.
Batman, Robin, Catwoman, Penguin, Sabretooth, Hawkeye, and Black
Okay,
Widow,
let's do
Black
it again.
Panther.
Let's do it again.
So that was not so good. All right, so we're moving on to the next one. Laura, top 10. These are the greatest cats in cartoons and comics.
Oh.
By Ranker.com,
Okay.
the top 10 greatest cats in cartoons and comics. Go.
Sylvester. Tom from Tom and Jerry.
Yeah.
That's the best I can do.
All right, so you got 2. Those 2 were in the top 10. All right, now pick
Okay.
your opponent. Pick your freak.
There is a right answer.
Let's go with Jen. Let's go with Jen.
Again, you can't use Tom and you can't use Sylvester.
I know,
Greatest
but
cats
Tom
in
is the
cartoons
best,
and comics.
Yeah.
Go.
I honestly have no idea. That's why Dr. Laura Myers is going to win this one.
You're using up time.
Besides Tom, I I have no idea.
One.
Garfield!
I can only think of one.
But is he not? He's not a
And he looks
So
dying.
I will say this, Laura. Good job who you picked because you won that round.
Yes.
I heard Brady say Garfield. That was one of them.
Yeah.
Garfield.
Was it really though?
Yeah.
Puss in
Oh,
Boots.
yeah.
Oh, Puss in
Simba
Boots.
Yeah.
from The Lion King. Pink
Okay,
Panther.
Pink Panther.
I was
Tigger
thinking
from Winnie
superhero.
the
Sorry,
Pooh.
guys.
Bagheera from The Jungle Book. Cheshire Cat from Alice in Wonderland. And Hobbs from Calvin and
Yep,
Hobbes.
there
Wait,
it is.
Man, I knew
There
about
it
three of
is.
those.
Yeah.
I
What
should
about
have
Josie and the
gotten-
Pussycats?
All right, this
Oh,
I was thinking
now
superhero.
this is the last one. All right, this is the
Okay.
last one. Minute to win it. So Laura, we're going to start off with you again. Now this one should be easier. I hope to God. These are the top house pets by the top10s.com. The top house pets. Go.
Dog, cat, snake, hamsters, gerbils, parakeets, parrot, cockatiels, frogs, turtles.
Wow.
All right.
Nice job.
This is what you got. You got dogs, cats, hamsters, birds, and turtles. So you got 5 of the top 10.
wow.
That's only because she has them all in her house.
That's
Right.
right.
All right. So who are you going up against? You still have Brady and Dina.
Let's go with Dina. I want to see what comes out of that.
All right.
Okay.
Dina,
I can think.
Go, Dina,
so no
go.
dogs, no cats, no hamsters, birds, or turtles. There's 5 more. Go.
Okay, guinea pig, goldfish, spider, rat.
Spider.
Well, I see people with spiders. Oh, lizard. That's all I got.
Bunny
Okay.
rabbit.
So you got 2.
Bunny.
So congratulations, Laura.
He's killing us.
You won 2 of the 3 and you tied. So you're 2-0-1. That's a pretty good record on this
Yeah,
show.
yeah.
Yeah.
But Dina, you got guinea pigs and fish. The other ones were rabbits, lizards, and or did you say lizards?
I said
Okay, so you got 3. I'll give you 3. It's still not 5, but I'll give you 3. So it's rabbits and ferrets.
Oh, gross.
Okay,
Ferrets.
Wow.
Ferrets
I was gonna
are
say ferrets.
disgusting.
Hey,
They
Phil?
smell-
Phil,
Yeah.
no more PhDs on the show, okay?
I know she's killing us.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's true. I ought to be careful of that.
Yeah.
Making us look bad. So, Laura, hey, thanks for having fun with us. It's always kind of good doing some of that stuff.
Yeah.
So here's what we're going to do. We're going to take a quick break. Our podcast listeners are going to hear Brady's Storm School, and our raw viewers are going to kind of get a little peek behind the curtain to see the unedited banter. So you may get a surprise or two as you kind of watch what we talk about during the quick little break.
Like
but
a
don't
wardrobe
leave.
change,
Like what?
like a wardrobe change, right? You gotta-
Yeah.
Live video. I don't.
Yeah.
I'm never good for live video. But hey, don't leave us. We're going to be right back with Laura and the team. I think we also got William Cole. We'll introduce. But we're going to discuss alternative facts and fake news, the social media spread of weather information and photos. We'll see you right back. All right. Cool. Good job, guys.
Bam.
There we go.
It's too bad the viewers don't get to see the gun show tonight.
Thank God for all of us. We're not seeing Brady.
Laura, great job.
Dr.
Yeah,
Laura
seriously.
Myers, you were awesome.
Yeah,
Thank
thank
you.
Yeah,
you.
You were
great,
really
thank
good. Thank you so much.
Man, I could have talked to you for another hour, honestly. I
know.
had a whole bunch of questions. It's just.
Y'all had some really good questions. You got a lot of stuff out of me.
Yeah.
Can I
No,
ask you
let's
really
make us
quickly,
feel
what is
good.
that Vortex Southeast? I didn't get a chance to ask you.
Yeah, that's a research initiative that's being done by NOAA here in Dixie Alley, and it's to study the differences in tornadoes atmospherically on the physical science side, and the social science side is to look at the public's behavior, forecaster behavior, and emergency management behavior. And so we've been doing it now for a couple of years, and it's ongoing. We got a few more years of research to do.
Okay, great.
Cool. All right. So, William, are you there? Calling for William.
Yeah, I see him
Willie.
connected, but I haven't heard him or seen anything other than a
Willie.
picture yet.
All right. Yeah, I see he's there too, or should be there. But so, William, if you are there, we do not hear you. And we see like a freeze frame of something. But okay, so here's what we'll do coming out of the break. Assuming we get William on, I will introduce. He's from Oklahoma Weather Tracker TV. He is the chief meteorologist, but he's the entrepreneur. He put that whole ball of wax together, which is really outstanding. To create that whole thing is pretty cool. So we wanted, since we were doing a live show with everybody from Oklahoma Weather Tracker TV, by the way, hi everybody.
Hi.
Hey.
Welcome.
Podcast.
So what we'll do coming out of the quick break, everybody get a drink. So all you watching us live on video right now, this is your cue. Go get your next drink, if that's a Diet Mountain Dew. Yep. If that's a water, if that's a beer or moonshine. It's completely up to you. That's the joy of the country we live in. It's free choice.
We don't drink shame. You can drink whatever you want.
That's right. We're equal opportunity drinkers. So anyway, so coming out of the break, assuming we get William on, I'll introduce him and just kind of let him briefly explain Oklahoma Weather Tracker TV a little bit, which I think is cool. And then I'll jump into the discussion. I'll introduce that a little bit. You guys can get talking about your experience with fake news, fake photos, people trying to be the first to get stuff out and get likes and tweets and all that stuff. But I'll introduce that and we'll get going. And then coming out of that break, as I said before, I'll do our typical going into the break. And then I need a quick little pause. And then I'm going to, at that point, say goodbye to everybody on Oklahoma Weather Tracker TV. So those of you watching right now, we got a great discussion coming up. But then after that discussion, we will say goodbye. And there's more to the show. It's just we only have an hour on Oklahoma Weather Tracker TV. So that's why we cut part of that. If you want to watch the rest, you can go to our YouTube channel or go to stormfrontfreaks.com and you can follow the rest on there. That's cool. So
For $29.99.
Yeah,
It's free.
It's free. God. Okay. Anybody any questions?
Mm-mm.
Okay.
Nope.
Laura, remember we're sitting around a poker table, so if you got something to say during our discussion, don't feel bad jumping on someone's toes.
Okay.
Cut in.
Except for mine. My toes are a little sensitive, so just be careful.
Gotcha.
I am going to send William a quick text.
Yeah, William, do we have you yet?
I don't hear him.
Looks like it's a little bit rainy though where he's at. Maybe his computer got fried. That rain is that just sunlight coming through the
They're
window?
getting rain. I thought they were dry. They got fire warnings right now in Oklahoma.
Oh, I was talking about his profile
He
picture.
just dropped out again.
Yeah. Okay.
Rain.
So we don't have your audio.
Is there a limit to how many we can have on here?
I don't know. MJ, what's it? 20?
I'm checking.
10?
I don't think so.
Ooh, I don't know.
That's a good question, but I don't think there is a limit.
I still don't think we're pushing that, but
Okay.
No, I think we've had 8. I think we've had 9 on before, haven't we?
Well, I had 2
Yeah.
personalities, so that's 2.
yeah.
That.
I love you, man.
Oh.
We're pushing the technology limits.
Maz, you can't joke about that, yo. I watched that one movie, whatever it's called, with that actor. Oh my god.
Oh, you saw that?
It was like so
What movie?
freaky.
What was it?
What was it called? It was about that guy with the
Imagine-
split personality where he kidnaps all those.
I saw the
one that just
trailers
came
for that,
out?
Yeah.
Yeah.
That
I
does
just
look
can't even
freaky.
imagine being an actor and
The guy,
doing
no, Professor X. Isn't it the guy who plays the young Professor
Yeah,
X?
and I kept expecting to like move something with his mind, but like it just didn't happen.
No, that's a different movie. That's a
Yeah,
different movie.
maybe.
We got you
All
yet,
right.
William?
No.
Yeah, now I see it showing up as his video. Now his video's unmuted. Yeah, I don't know.
Well,
Participant limit is 15 is what I'm seeing, so I don't
Oh,
think
okay.
I'm pushing that.
all right. So we should have done a sound check. I figured it'd be easy for him to jump on, but we will get him on next time, I think, if he doesn't jump on here shortly. But I think we should go ahead and get started.
Yep.
Let's do it.
All right. So we'll go ahead and get started. Why don't MJ, why don't you count us in?
All right, here we go. In 3, 2.
All right, well, welcome back, everybody, to the show. We wanted to, before we got into the discussion, we were hoping to have William Cole from Oklahoma Weather Tracker TV joining us to introduce the show to us a little bit and introduce Oklahoma Weather Tracker TV to our listeners and those that maybe aren't familiar. We will definitely get him on another show if we don't make this work before we get started. But we do want to get into our discussion because this is a great discussion. The challenge is, we all know alternative facts and fake news have been popular buzzwords over the last several months, but weather news is definitely not immune to that. Many people in an attempt to report first. So we're in this society now where you want to be first. You want to be the first one to get the news out there or the photos or the videos out there, because if you do that, you get more follows, more retweets, more shares, right? All that stuff. In an attempt to do that, people are going to post false storm photos and video, even report incorrect storm information on their social media accounts. So what are we to do when the media runs rampant, even spreading that into television? And those of you in TV weather can maybe talk a little bit about this, but I've seen where someone on social media, some average Joe, takes a video of a tornado or some severe storm. Then what happens is someone else picks up that video. They might copy it and then post it on their own social media, almost looking like it's their own. But regardless, next thing you know, you see all these TV and video outlets contacting them saying, hey, can we use it? Can we use it? Can we use it? And they're all trying to be the first to do it. And we don't even know who it came from. We maybe don't even know where exactly this was. We just want to post something dramatic.
That's one of the hardest things. I'm one of the social media specialists at the Weather Channel. And so part of my job actually is getting UGC content or user generated content and scanning, different social media feeds. And you always have to double check. You can even right click on an image and see like if it's been seen across Google before, and that gives you a really good idea. Like, people love to post photos from like past disasters, and it happens every single time, multiple times. And I always wonder what causes someone to do that. They just think it's funny that everyone thinks it's that disaster, but it's one of those things that you always want to get back to the source, because even some people, if they steal someone else's video and post it as their own, and you got all these media outlets converging on them to get access to it, they'll try and take credit for it sometimes. And so it's always your job to make sure you get the right source for it. But it's a constant stress. It's never going to go away, and it's something that you got to be smart about if you're in social media or an on-camera meteorologist or anybody. And especially with, I think, a lot of weather enthusiasts, they get excited about the forecast. And since forecasts are available, like weather models, to basically everyone now, I feel like they don't know exactly what they're looking at or know how to appropriately communicate that to the public. And they are just like, 2 weeks from now, a major snowstorm, and then it goes viral.
Wait, are you saying Snopes can't keep up with that?
No. A mess.
That's where I get all my urban legends from, right? Snopes.
But it's one of those things, and then everyone believes that source, and it just causes a lot of confusion, and you have a lot of meteorologists trying to correct that because they get texts from family and friends.
Yeah.
Try to have a little common sense on pictures. Like, some of them I can't tell either, but if, like you said, right mouse click on the image and search Google for the image, because people will take something and then they'll Photoshop like an alligator or a shark.
Yes.
And I get all kinds of images over on the digital side of the Weather Channel. Like, is this real? And, you'll have like 15 arches of a rainbow, and I've got a gator walking across the street, and it's not. The video is harder. I mean, I definitely get what you're getting, because there's times where I've even sent tweets to people. I'm like, hey, can I use your video? And they're like, it's not mine. And you got to dig and dig and dig and find out who it came from. But at the same time, like, look at your source. In front of any specific, I'm going to use the Daily Mail, but I only use them because they had gotten the hurricanes wrong for a while, and they used my images once. Like, are you going to look at that, or are you going to look at, say, like the Weather Channel or CNN or somebody that has got it together?
Yeah.
But that's hard because there's so
Yeah.
much on social media, and it's great when it's true, but it's hard to filter that stuff out. But you take it with a grain of salt.
Yeah. And
Is
Go
it
ahead,
going to get
Mass.
worse? I was going to say, do you think it's just going to continue to get worse? Is there a tipping point?
I think it will.
I think people think
continue
it's
to get
funny.
worse.
They think it's
Yeah.
funny that they're screwing it with everybody. They're like,
or they just don't care, and they want
they
the
don't.
followers, and I think there's two different types of people that spread, fake news on the weather. And I think, it's people that put out these forecasts, and it's also people that share, pictures of what currently is happening. I think, to regulate people posting pictures, I think that'd be tough, because I think that would discourage a lot of people to, because I think posting pictures of a tornado can actually help a lot, and showing an image of a tornado can, there's been a lot of research done that actually helps people respond, like Dr. Myers was talking about earlier. So I think that's hard. Where I think, we could really focus on is the forecasting, and really, encouraging people to follow people that have good forecasts, and, discouraging people to follow people that don't have, good forecasts, and they're known to be people that hype. And I think there could be some things done there that can really improve that process.
and that's hard because you don't know. Joe average schmo out there doesn't know. Like, he might know the Weather Channel, and he might know the big news sources, but like Brady, he's a Met student.
Yeah.
He knows,
Yeah.
but you don't know if it's Brady from college or like Brady like trying to sit in
Exactly.
mom's basement. You don't know.
Laura, what kind of work, Laura, have you
So-
done or been a part of that deals a little bit with that?
I've been working with the broadcast meteorologists, the TV meteorologists on this issue, because they're very frustrated by it. And so, we've looked at the issue in terms of what you can do about it. One of the things that it's causing is a lot of work by the broadcast meteorologists to figure out what's real and what's not. And then the other side of it is trying to clarify it for the public. And that goes to what you were just talking about. How does the public know who the credible sources are? And so what we've been recommending is we've got to educate the public about who their credible sources are. So in social media, on television, all these different ways, we've got to make it clear who the trusted sources are. And it really comes down to trust. They got to figure out if they're getting something 2 weeks out and it's totally skewed. They need to understand that you can't do that 2 weeks out, that information's bogus. And so educating them, through our official sources, our official accounts, our official ways of reaching the public about what's real and what's not real will help the public make better judgments about what they're seeing.
Yeah, and I feel like another thing that they could possibly do is, I know this might be tough, but have some sort of, not necessarily performance matrix, but have some other, else than being like an AMS certified meteorologist as a broadcast meteorologist, but have some sort of other seal that shows people, that really, proves to them that they are an experienced forecaster. Because a lot of times, people you see on TV might not be the best forecaster, and you don't know that, and because it's not like people are going back and actually charting, what these meteorologists said. If they were a couple degrees off, there's not many people that are doing that. So they just go based on what they perceive as true in that moment.
That's an interesting idea, Brady, actually, because, Twitter has like verification. So if you see the check mark, the blue check mark, you're like, okay, that's that person.
Yeah.
But that's a good point, because even for like Facebook, because it's the post itself that gets shared a lot. So if there's something that, and for Twitter too, because working with both, it can be difficult to get verified on Twitter. So even if you're a credible meteorologist, sometimes it'll take some time to get verified. But if there's another way, like to even work with Twitter and Facebook and get some kind of verification for meteorologists and weather. Yeah, I think that'd be interesting. So instead of like, a blue check mark next to your name, or if you have a blue check mark, you have something else. So like, okay, the information I'm getting from this person is credible and accurate, rather than just, and it may be an innocent kid that, that maybe puts these out. He loves weather. He's fascinated by it, but he just doesn't understand it. And he doesn't realize what he's doing. He's like, wow, look at all the shares I'm getting, but he doesn't understand the confusion that he's causing.
So maybe something like Amazon shoppers, where you're like, well, there's 2 million people that trust that guy. You can do the same thing as like, oh, there's
So
Bobby.
maybe you could have like 5 stars.
Star ratings.
It's true.
A star.
So now people
like
are going to be going for star ratings instead of clicks and retweets. You're changing the scope.
That's what we're trying to do. Be a disruptor.
Yeah.
But no, that's an interesting idea.
What about? I've heard other people talk about digital seals, like AMS, maybe talking about digital seals. Is that correct? Have people heard about that?
I
Yeah.
have.
Yeah.
Would
go
that
ahead.
help police anything, or does that really not matter?
I don't know. I mean, really, the average Joe Schmo, do they think, oh, I don't even think they know what a seal
and
is.
that's true.
No,
I would agree
they
with you
don't.
on that.
Yeah, so I think so my point is, maybe either make that seal more, educate the public on what this means, or come up with something different that communicates to the public in a more effective way. Because I think, if I were to go call my mom right now and ask her what the broadcast seal, the AMS broadcast seal is for meteorologists, she'd have no idea what I'm thinking.
I agree.
So,
Well, here's the last thing I want to throw out there too when it comes to fake news or who to listen to, because I know it's also been an issue, not in the media, but with the National Weather Service, getting reports and false reports and fake reports of tornadoes and things like that maybe really weren't there. And the challenge that the National Weather Service has to try and filter out false storm reports and correct storm reports, so much so that sometimes they discount true reports of tornadoes when they should be issuing a tornado warning, and they're not doing it because they're having such a hard time trying to filter those. So I'll kind of throw that at Laura as well. Have you come across any of that in your study?
We have, it's been an identified problem, and, kind of informally what they do is, they kind of know who their trusted sources are. And so that's how they filter, they get the information from their trusted sources, and they use that to confirm the stuff from the people that they don't know. And so we've actually been developing some technology to do that automatically. My center is a technology center, and so we've been working with several of the broadcast meteorologists and the Weather Service folks about, can we develop software that would actually do that for them, which would mean you've already got your pre-identified storm spotters and people that provide that information. So as that comes in, it's going to classify it against the stuff that you don't know. And so then it would produce that for you on the fly, that you don't have to do the filtering right in the middle of the event.
And I think also the National Weather Service chat actually helps out too, because when other meteorologists are saying viewers are seeing this and they're writing that in there, and the National Weather Service teams are seeing that too, it can just all around help with, understanding exactly what is happening. So that's really cool.
Well, that's good. And I'll tell you what, we always encourage all of our listeners and viewers to tell us what you think about the discussion topics that we go through as well. And this is no different. So tell us what you think. You can comment by email at questions@stormfrontfreaks.com. You can comment on our Facebook page. Just search Stormfront Freaks Podcast, or our Twitter account, which the handle is Stormfront Freak. And Maz, there's no S at the end of that. I'm sorry to freak you out. But any of those comments, we always like to share some of those on our next show. So feel free to let us know what you guys think about fake weather news and all that kind of stuff. What we're going to do is go ahead and take our final quick break. So refill your drinks. And when we come back, it's going to be time for Weather Fools and Weather Resources. And those of you watching us on Oklahoma Weather Tracker TV, hey, thanks for tuning in. First live show. I don't think, unfortunately, didn't have a chance to get William on, but we will definitely do that on the next show we do. We'll get William on as well. But hey, thanks for watching our live show. Nothing too crazy happened, but you never know, do you? So thanks for watching. And just so you know, you can catch more Stormfront Freaks podcast at our website, stormfrontfreaks.com. You'll find previous shows, links to our videos. Our Zoom Radar Storm Chaser map is on there, which is great, as well as other ways to contact us. But thanks again for watching, and don't forget to tune in again next week.
Thanks.
See you guys. Thank you.
Bye.
All right, so the rest of you still watching, we will we'll be finishing up. We got a quick little break, and then we're going to finish up with our our weather fools and our weather resources. So hang tight, get yourself a drink. We'll be ready to roll shortly. Good job, everybody. Laura, thank you. Outstanding.
Thank you,
Yes.
Yep, seriously.
Awesome.
I enjoyed it. Thanks for having me.
Dr.
Yeah.
Myers, you're amazing.
We will
Absolutely incredible.
We will definitely do that again. I will follow up with you over the weekend, just with last minute items, get you some stuff, and I'll get you the once the audio podcast gets posted, I'll make sure you've got a link to that as well.
Perfect.
So you can do
And
that.
Phil,
okay?
you have a prize for winning the lightning round, right?
Pride. Yep, she wins pride. You win lots of pride. Lots of pride for that. So anyway, Dr. Myers, thank you so much for joining us. We appreciate it.
Yes,
Sure.
thank you.
You're welcome. Y'all want me to cut out at this point, I assume?
Yeah, you can, unless you want to hang around and listen to us act silly and stupid. You're always welcome to do that. But you can do that like all of our YouTube followers. You can do the same thing. So.
And you're an honorary freak in a good way.
Yes.
Yes.
Right.
There you go.
There you go.
All right. Well, it's great being with you guys. Thank y'all so much.
All right,
Thank
see
you,
you, Laura.
Dr.
See
Myers.
ya.
It was a pleasure.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
Okay, so let's. Unfortunately, that's too bad we weren't able to get William to connect. I know we were trying, but we'll get him next time. So let's cover weather fools and weather resources. Brady, here's what I'm going to do.
Okay.
With weather fools, is
Yeah.
I'm just going to have Mark have MJ count you in and just say, "Hey, welcome back. Hey, let's hit our weather fools. Here's what weather fools is."
All right.
And then and then finish by saying, all these will be posted in our show notes that you can find on our website at stormfrontfreaks.com, and then flip it over to Maz. And then Maz, you can do the same thing when you're done. Finish with saying, and you can find links to all these resources at stormfrontfreaks.com.
That's with an S, right? I'm just kidding.
Oh, man.
Man.
Hey, Maz's replacement's
yes.
coming, right? He's on the way, right?
Yes, it is.
Oh.
Just kidding, Maz. Never.
So,
Never.
let's cover
I will
Brady.
never allow that to happen.
Let's figure out who's got weather fools.
I do.
do.
All right. I do not this week.
So Jen, Dina, and Phil, I have a weather fool.
All right.
Ooh, ooh.
And you guys know how to share your screen, right? Number one.
Yes.
And number two,
Yes.
don't forget audio. So you got to explain, because people that are listening can't see what you're showing. So make sure you're doing a good job of explaining it as well.
Okay.
So 3 weather fools. All right, weather resources. Who's got those?
I don't
I
have
do.
one this week.
We haven't done the climate prediction center, right, yet? I don't think we
I
have.
don't think so.
All right, I'll do that.
No.
So Phil, Dina,
So is
and
that-
Brady.
Phil,
Yeah.
Dina, and Brady, not Jen.
No, I'm sorry, not this week, but I have a weather fool, which is really exciting.
Yeah, that's kind of
good.
bizarre
That's
that
it,
you
Jen.
got a weather fool this week.
Actually, I have
Yeah.
2 weather fools,
Interesting.
sort of, but I'm just going to use one for today.
Okay.
Yeah,
All right.
save
Yeah,
the next
don't
one.
overdo it. Don't overdo it.
Yeah,
You gotta
save one
save
for
it.
next time.
No, definitely overdo it.
Overachiever.
Okay. And then listener questions. MJ, you've got the Candyman.
I got that, and I got
Candy
one
man.
email.
Don't
well.
say it 5 times in the mirror.
Man.
Sounds good. All right, and then I will, and then I'll
candy.
close. I'll close up with some stuff. Okay.
Please stop.
And then, hey,
Can't have sugar.
God, look at that. Someone's on a sugar high.
Please stop.
Screw the alcohol. I'm just gonna eat a bunch of candy.
Jelly beans. Welch's jelly beans. They're amazing.
Stop, guys, stop. I'm on a no-carb diet. This
All
is
right, hey
too much for
MJ,
me,
are you gonna do the
please.
close? Are you gonna play the video close?
No, I was
Okay.
gonna do that. I started doing that when you
saw
closed
that
out the
after
unplugged.
already. Yeah, I didn't know you were doing that.
Next time.
All right.
On Stormfront Freaks.
Yeah. All right. So we're ready to go.
Yep,
so
let's
all
do it.
of those,
I'm ready.
The 5 people watching can get back into the show.
Damn.
Yay!
And we love you. The
Yeah,
five.
yes,
Yeah.
those
All
5
5
people
of
are
you.
awesome.
Grandma.
One is Brady's
we
mom.
got Jay and Drake and
What's up,
Richard
Jay?
and
Drake, Richard, sweet.
Zach. Yeah.
Drake.
Oh, we just lost Zach.
Oh, is that?
Is there a
Zach's
Faye?
weather maniac. Zach
there a
is a
Faye?
weather maniac.
Zach attack.
He is.
All
He
right.
is the Big Mac Zach.
Okay,
Big
so
Mac.
let's do this. MJ, you are counting in Brady. Everybody else, get ready to show your
Goods.
video.
Oh,
All right.
Show your what?
And I'm drinking it. I've been good.
Yeah.
I think we should have
out.
Dina
There
introduce
goes-
people at the
there
end.
goes- There goes the grandma. Bye, grandma.
Dina should introduce people at the end. And coming up next, Harry Carey.
We love you, man.
Okay. Fun.
All right, here we go. Brady in 3, 2.
Hey, what's up, guys? Welcome back to the podcast. So now we're going into our weather fools. Now, for those of you who are this is your first time joining us this week. So weather fools is basically we look at things that happen in the news, things that happen to TV weather people, or things that just happen on YouTube videos where people did something a little bit stupid when it comes to the weather.
That's the correct term.
Yes, it is the correct term.
Yes,
it is. They're weather fools. So let's get to our first not weather fool. You're not a weather fool, but what is your weather fool this
Careful.
week, Dina?
Okay, so I'm going to share my screen. And my weather fool is from the Goofy News Minute, I guess. Mainly when you watch this, and I'm going to kind of skip through here, but mainly it's a lot of reporters during a storm with these fools behind them.
Was it the Gangnam Style in the background?
Yeah,
So-
and they're all
MJ,
like
show us
dancing
Dina's
half
video.
naked behind them. I did cut one of them that was really naked because I know the on-camera meteorologist who was doing it, and he was not happy. But these guys are out there, and like this guy's here at the corner talking about the storm, and you got these people doing like
Jesus.
burnouts around the corner.
Oh my god.
But my favorite is coming up here. Oh, this guy's funny. He's standing there under like a little roof, and then the lightning, and it just scares him. Now this one is my favorite. This woman, Angelica, is up in Wisconsin. She's out there all day, freezing her tail off. And mainly what happens at the end is she's like, do you need me to say anything more than it sucks? It's cold. And it really went around social media about her saying that. Like everybody loved it. But, like I think they weren't always, some people weren't excited that she said that word. But I mean, I love her. If I
She's
stood
just
out there
real.
all day freezing my
Bam.
tail off, and I'm like, do you really need a Met to stand out here and tell you this is awful?
Bam.
I love it.
Yes,
She's
yeah.
funny. She's funny. So
Job
that is my
security.
weather
Weather fool.
fool.
Job
that's
security.
pretty cool. All right,
Job
we'll-
security.
We'll post that link to the Stormfront Freaks page. Now let's go over to Jen. Jen, what is your weather fool this week?
Oh my god, it's exciting and thrilling. So
I'm
It better
like-
be.
Excited now.
It better be.
Okay.
You built it up. So
I know.
we're
Hold
expecting
on.
one.
Got all
am I
right.
sharing? Whoa, that's such a crazy experience on my computer. It looks weird.
Oh,
Can you
okay,
guys
that
see
is.
the screen?
Yeah.
Okay, so what's been happening a lot is it's been an unusually warm winter. So across the Great Lakes and even smaller ponds, people aren't realizing how thin the ice is. So we've got a group of kids trying to take a
Oh.
selfie on the ice,
no.
and they all fall through
It's always
the
a
ice.
selfie.
And
Oh.
this is in Central Park. This is in New York, and this is probably from a couple days ago. But you see
Really?
them,
Wow.
yeah, struggling to kind of get out. But
Morons.
it's yeah,
Oh
it's
my gosh.
it's kind of scary because and I can replay it again. Oops.
Wouldn't
no.
the
That's pretty
Yes, give it
one's
away.
enough. But hey, that the original, we were going to originally call this show the segment "Weather Morons." Someone felt that might be a little too harsh. They made
Yeah.
it weather fool. But Jen, that was good. That might qualify as a
That was
weather
cute.
weather
Oh,
morons.
yeah, that was a pack of weather morons. It's
It
just
was.
People don't understand. All right, Phil, what was your weather fool? Not moron. Weather
All
fool.
right,
What
so
was your weather
here's my weather fool. Obviously, storm season is fast approaching. Those of you in the southeast, it's already there, and so I'm just a heads up warning to people. A reminder that when it starts to hail, and you're on the highway driving your car, don't everybody park under the
That's
overpass
fool?
so that no one can get by you, because challenge number one is if everybody's parking under the overpass in a hailstorm,
Gosh.
number one's no one's getting through, but number two is most people aren't getting out. And many times, and those of you that are meteorologists can correct me if I'm wrong, but quite often in a hailstorm, odds are that there might be a lot of lift somewhere that could also be creating a tornado.
Yeah.
Yep.
And so
Yep.
if there's somewhere there could be a tornado nearby, and your highway is completely blocked and backed up because you have a bunch of weather morons
Yahoos.
sitting
Yeah.
under the overpass because of a hailstorm, now you've really screwed everybody because here comes a tornado. No one can go anywhere. And as they say, do not under an overpass is not a safe place to be during a tornado.
That's the worst place to be.
Yeah.
It
So,
seems like
And it
shelter,
goes-
but no.
It's not like it's
Yeah,
one
it goes
person.
beyond everything as a human being to take shelter, but that is the worst place you could be. I've actually read reports where like people have gotten out of the car and gotten up into the top there, and they've had like kids ripped out of the arms of their parents because it's like water going through a small part of the stream, and the wind goes faster. It's the worst place to be.
Yep, it tunnels
It's
it.
really scary.
There's a great video of that from Kansas from like 15, 20 years ago. or
Yes,
something.
and that's what
Yeah.
like fake news. That's what you're not supposed to do.
Fake
That
news.
Yep, fake news.
alternative facts.
All right, cool. Well, guys, we'll have all the links to the Weather Fools on our Stormfront Freaks website. Go check that out. And now let's head over to Mark or Maz for the weather resources.
Thank you, Brady. Appreciate it. You know, you'll get to the point where you think, are we running out of resources? Have we like looked at every single one?
Never.
Dina says,
Never.
no, I got a
there's
good one.
always stuff. Oh, am I
Tell
up?
me more. Dina. Yeah, you're up.
I'm gonna share my screen again. Okay. You guys see my screen?
We see you.
I
I
see
see
your
you,
beautiful
and
face.
you look great tonight.
Yeah.
Aww.
It's the
I'm
moonshine.
trying. Oh, there we go. Share
It's the
screen.
moonshine
There we
glow.
go. There it comes. The moonshine
All right.
glow.
So this is coast.noaa.gov/hurricanes. And I just learned of this the other day. And really what's cool about this is if you can see on my screen, if you can't just follow, like listen to me, there's like you can pick by location, name, year, or ocean basin. So say I want to look at maybe the Western Atlantic, and I want to see, and I could filter some of these storms out. When you click on advanced filters, you can do like, it says H5. So hurricane, that would be category 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, a tropical storm, tropical depression, extratropical. So maybe we want to filter out everything but a hurricane cat 3 or higher. And maybe we want to pick a year, maybe back to say 1995 or something. We click apply, and this might take a second to load because I could see the little blue line at the top going past. But this is a great way to filter out data from certain hurricanes or tropical storms.
Oh,
And
Dina.
you can kind of
That's
zoom
awesome.
in.
Oh, it's a spaghetti chart.
Oh,
That's
Yeah,
slow.
but see, you
I like
can,
spaghetti.
you can filter this out even more. But over at the left-hand side, if you click on the storm, it highlights it for you, which is even better.
yeah, that's
Yeah,
cool.
that's awesome.
So
That's
we
really
got,
balls.
everything. And I was just doing this the other day for something. What was the one over near Mozambique? I've had
Bob.
too much.
Katrina.
Oh.
No. This was just the other day.
Harold.
I was trying to think is when has anything hit Mozambique? When was the last hurricane? And I used this. Somebody showed me this, and I'm like, oh wow, it's been since Lizette in 1995 or something. But like right now, I just filtered out everything except Cat 5s. You can
Wow.
zoom in. It shows the intensity with the colors, but I love that you can just mouse over the certain
Yeah.
storm and it shows it to you.
Pretty.
It's really
So there's
cool.
Katrina of 2005. It gives you the year. I mean, this thing is great, and you can do it anywhere in the world.
I would have
that's mine.
I would have so used that for my master's thesis, which I never got. So
Okay,
There's still
that
time, bro.
that's cool.
Still time.
Still
that's a
time.
good one. I just learned that one too because I had said, well, how did you figure out when the last time something hit Mozambique? And they're like, oh, let me show you. And I'm like, oh my God, weather resource.
That's awesome.
I was
Okay,
excited.
A+. That was great.
Yeah.
All right, we're going to go to the other end of the spectrum. Still in school, Brady.
Ooh, yes. I'm almost out of school. Almost out. But
What's the
So
day?
you think? So you think?
I think well, we'll see.
wait
One of
for
my
that diploma.
professors is pretty. He's being pretty hardcore right now. So hopefully I pass. No, it'll
I'm
work out.
Italian. You let me know who he is,
Stop,
okay?
Dr. Hopkins. Hopkins the best.
I
Take
will-
care of it for you.
All right, so this is my weather resource is the CPC, also known as the Climate Prediction Center. You can go here, and this basically is long-range forecasting, so beyond This will be the 6 to 10 day. You'll see the red indicates, percentages basically. So, say in Florida, it's 80%. That's basically saying 80%, they're 80% confident that it'll be warmer than average there. And then you'll see the blue out west, that's colder than average. And this actually goes out. This is the 8 to 14 day. This is the 3 to 4 week even, the 1 month outlook and the 3 month outlook. So they have, temperature and precipitation values, a lot of really interesting stuff if you're looking at long range forecasting. I've been looking at it because I'm going to the beach for spring break.
Yeah.
I'm trying to figure out, and look, it's going to be warmer than normal. So I'm happy about that.
Is that why you're on
That
a
one's a good
low-carb
one,
diet?
Brady.
Is that why I'm on a what, Maz?
Low carb diet? Is that why?
Well, yeah.
Start doing some sit-ups, Brady.
Ding, ding, ding.
Yep.
Yes. All I know is I'm going to look great, and it's going to be amazing.
The more you drink, the better you look.
Oh, he's not showing his video.
I'm just saying.
Dina,
I
I
think I met
haven't
Dina
I
once.
haven't drank in 2 weeks. It's pretty unbelievable. It's pretty.
I know.
pretty
I do that when I'm on my
stuff.
diet too, but I'm kind of.
You can have a
Just
cheat. You
gonna
can
enjoy
have a
myself.
cheat day. You can have a cheat day every now and then.
Yeah.
Cheat day
Very
is
cool.
every other Thursday night, 9 o'clock
Nice.
Eastern, 8 o'clock Central.
I like those percentages, Brady. Good job. I'm 100% sure I'm out of Angry Orchard right now. Just letting you know. So, anyway. All right, Phil, your turn. Take us away, man.
All right, so a lot of storm spotting classes are going on right now. It's the time of the year for that. So a lot of local National Weather Service offices are doing their spotter training, and so I just wanted to make that available. My guess is a lot of people that probably listen and watch us are already either meteorologists or storm spotters and might already have that. But for those of you that maybe are not storm spotters and you would like to do that because it's very simple to do, one of the best resources is to go to the National Weather Service NOAA.gov website, go to their training portal. They have a training portal specifically for weather spotters that gives you an opportunity to not only go to your local forecast office, there's a link there and you can find out what classes might be offered and where they're being offered locally for you to attend. But if you can't attend a class, they also have access to the online Comet modules where you can actually just online watch and go through the kind of PowerPoint presentations, slide presentations. There's video involved in that as well, but you can do your storm spotting right from the comfort of your own couch and your skivvies if that's what you want to do.
Very cool.
And you can get your training and then find out from your local National Weather Service office what their spotter phone number is. So you can get their spotter number and you can call in what you see as far as storms and weather and snowfall amounts and all that good stuff.
That's awesome.
Great little source.
I just like the way you say portal.
I know.
Portal.
All right. So you can get all these great resources. They're going to be posted on our show notes located at stormfrontfreaks.com. Hey, any listener questions out there?
Hey, well, Maz, as a matter of fact, we do have a couple of them. We had one turned in via email at questions@stormfrontfreaks.com. And that was Jimmy. Jimmy was asking a little bit about how ham radio operators help out with the weather, and I will be responding to him. But if he happens to be listening, you can check out episode 4. Go to stormfrontfreaks.com and Enterline, who's a Skywarn area manager in Richmond, Virginia, and Todd Krause from the National Weather Service in the Twin Cities, and they both talked about how ham radio and amateur radio play a role in the weather. So check that out. Those of you who might want to check that or bone up on that, especially coming into spotter season. And then our contest, our myradar.com t-shirt winner goes to Candyman13. Who gave us a review on-
Times in the mirror.
There you go. Who gave us a review on iTunes, said, fun and informative. I'm a trained weather spotter and always trying to learn new things. This podcast is always part of that. So thank you at Candyman1327.
That's awesome.
And we are
Thank
sending
you.
him, he's getting one of the My Radar app t-shirts as well for doing that. Just so you know, we do have a couple more of those still available. So if you want to leave us a review on iTunes and leave your Twitter handle, we got a couple more shirts. We'll try and get those out to you.
Those are
Awesome.
cool. I want one.
Cool. I know. I want
Okay.
one too, Maz.
I know it.
All right. Well, you got to leave I didn't see you leave a review on iTunes, so maybe
I didn't know I could.
leave a
I
review.
know. I thought we were excluded.
Phil, I don't have internet, so I can't.
Why we don't
Give
see
me
it
15 seconds. I'm just
No
gonna
shirt
go
for
there.
you. All right, so that about does it for this episode of Stormfront Freaks Podcast and Stormfront Freaks Raw. Thanks for listening and watching. And if you enjoy the show, we'd love it if you left a review on iTunes, like we just said. And the benefit of that is the more reviews we have, it's just when people search, weather and weather podcasts, the better chance that they'll be able to find us. And so you're just helping us out and doing that. So we really appreciate that. Special thanks to our guest, Dr. Laura Myers, for joining us this evening. I also wanted to bring up and let everybody know that March, so we're coming up on March. March is National Weather Podcast Month. And so
That's
this is
so
pretty
awesome.
exciting.
Woo.
Yeah, so we'll
That's
be
so awesome.
participating in a number of crossover shows with 7 other weather podcasts. So I know, I think we got Jen, I think we got Dina, I think we got Kim are all going to be on other weather podcasts as well. I was thinking about this today. I'm like, the reason I picked the ladies is because they're all currently in, practicing meteorology or whatever. And I figured weather podcasts, they'd be most interested in having them on their show. Because Lord knows I can't really talk anything about weather. But then I thought, it seems like I'm pimping out all the ladies on the show. I felt kind of bad about that. But
It's
that was
okay.
the reason why. It was because of your qualifications, right?
Okay.
How much
way to
money
save
are you
yourself.
making?
So
That's
yeah.
what we're calling it.
So if you want to see the schedule of all the weather podcast shows that are going on in March, and I'll tell you what, every single one of them is coming up with some outstanding programming, including us. But if you want to go to our website, stormfrontfreaks.com, and click on the National Weather Podcast Month logo, it will take you to a page that talks about there's 7 other weather podcasts besides us. Talk about those podcasts, and there's also a link to check out the programming and all the shows they're going to have. And I want to share this because we have an exciting month planned for all of you. Our next episode in 2 weeks, so this starts off our National Podcast Month. This will be on March 9th, 9 o'clock Eastern, 8 o'clock Central. We're going to have none other than Extreme Storm Chaser Reed Timmer
Woo!
Yay.
to be our guest.
Good one.
So we're starting off the month of March with a bang. We're going to have a lot of fun with Reed. I can imagine this is like a perfect show for him to just kind of go crazy. But we're also going to have a guest co-host from the Weather Junkies podcast. Dakota Smith is going to be joining us as a guest co-host. So that should be fun.
Cool.
It's like an NBC crossover night, isn't it, or something?
That's great.
A little bit, yeah, kind of a
Like
little bit.
when
We
the
got all the
superheroes do the
superheroes, yep,
crossover
showing up
shows.
on other shows.
It's very
Kind of what
cool.
it is. So again, go to stormfrontfreaks.com if you want to watch it live in 2 weeks with Reed Timmer. Feel free to do that as well. We're gonna have a lot of fun. So I think that's it. So our first, we had our first live show with Oklahoma Weather Tracker TV, which is outstanding. But I think for MJ, Maz, Brady, Dina, and Jen, I think it's okay. You guys good? All
Yeah.
good. We're all good. Okay, I'm gonna go ahead and signal the all. Okay, I'm gonna signal the all clear. Finish your drinks, and we'll catch you next time.
Bye.
Bye.
Kind of an all clear.
Stay away from the carbs. Carbs are evil.
And we'll